Welcome to the show. We have a very special show today. It has been about 1 year. Actually, I think on Sunday, it had been 1 year since I first posted a video on blacksmithing. Just to give you a little background, I was in school a number of years ago, studying graphic communications, studying a little bit of video production and video editing and stuff. And at that time, I started the FargoFX YouTube channel. But then I didn't really do anything with it for about 2 or 3 years, and that's when I came back to it last year in April and started again, and I really changed the whole format to this being a channel focused on DIY, on blacksmithing, on knife making, tool reviews, a little bit of survival type of stuff. I had in mind to do reviews of gear for backpacking or bushcraft and things like that. So, and some of that I might actually get into in the future. But as time went on, the channel really evolved into what you see today. It's basically a knife making and blacksmithing, amateur blacksmithing type of channel. But one thing I'd like to call attention to, for those of you that are maybe kind of sitting on the fence and you're thinking, hey, I'd like to get more involved in the YouTube side of things, and I don't necessarily mean blacksmithing or knife making, but just anything that you're passionate about. Before I started really regularly uploading videos, I had about between 50 and 60 followers. So in about 1 year, about 365 days, I went from somewhere around 50 or 60 subscribers to 7,000. And it's not because I'm super good at this. I love what I'm doing here. I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed getting to know and getting feedback from you, the viewers of my videos. And that has helped me to, come back and continuously make improvements to the quality of the videos and the kinds of videos that I do. So again, I want to encourage anybody that's thinking, they'd like to start up a channel of their own. Maybe you already have a channel and you'd like to get a little bit more serious about it. Go for it. Focus on making some consistent content. At least put out 1 to 2 videos per week and shoot for 3, 4, 5 minutes. If you can get to 7 minutes or 10 minutes per video, that's awesome. And then make sure you interact with the community that you're a part of. Make sure you get out there and answer people's questions and comment when people comment on your videos, and it's surprising, and maybe a lot of that has to do with this particular genre that we're in. People that do DIY projects, people that do bushcraft or blacksmithing, metalwork, woodworking. There's a lot of, I think, very similar personalities here, and we get along. So we do like to help each other out. But anyway, I want to say thanks to everybody who's been a part of this, bringing this channel forward to where it is now, and let you know that I have big plans for the future. I'm not going anywhere. I love what I'm doing, and I'm going to keep doing it. Today, the video you're going to see is the very first video I put up that had to do with blacksmithing. And this is partly to show you that, when I started out a year ago, the level of quality was not great. The audio was pretty bad. The video wasn't great. The lighting wasn't great. This was all shot on a cell phone, So I just want to point out that start where you are, and you never know. In a year, you might have thousands of subs, especially if you stay consistent and you keep after it. So enjoy this. You might have seen it before. I think it has around 500, 600, 700 views. It was a 2-parter. I'm going to roll the second part in at the end so you can see the full construction of the video, and then I'll probably just come in and say a couple words at the end. So enjoy. I'm thinking it'll be about 10, 12 minutes or so. Really appreciate you watching, and super much appreciate each and every one of you for being a part of the success of this channel this year, and just for being a part of this awesome community. Today, I'm going to turn this scrap of rebar into a hatchet just like this one, or very similar to this one. So stay tuned. And it all starts with a blow dryer. So once I get my steel up to temperature, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten this out. Now, it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. So we're going to wind up putting a bend in there anyway. But if it's close to straight, that would be good. Return this to heat. So next thing I'm going to do is called upsetting the metal. And that's where we try to concentrate a bit more material toward the end, because this is where our blade is going to be, or our bit, since we're making an axe, or a hatchet really. So a lot of times what you'll see people do, you'll see people cool, kind of quench the steel right down to just maybe 1.5 inches or 2 from the end. And the reason they're doing that is so that that concentration of steel really gets right out there to the very end. It doesn't really work its way back up. So we're not really looking for a taper. We really want a lot of steel concentrated right at the end. Now, depending on how big you want that blade area to be, you can keep doing this, and you can pack quite a bit of steel down into the end there. I don't really plan on doing that, because I'm not going for a really big blade at the end. I'm just going to produce something that's functional and to give you the idea. Getting a little cool, so I'll return that to heat. We're getting pretty close to the shape we want. Now don't hurt your back. Lift with your legs. Very good. So Sam, did you want to give it a try?
Yeah.
Alright, we'll go around the same way Micah did. There you go. Alright, don't hurt yourself. Lift with your legs. Oh, there it was. I saw it. I saw it. It came up. Ah, there you go. Nice work. Stay back over there, guys. All right. Now.
And then this piece of something. Whoa! Look! That is super easy. It was so hot. Bend it really easily. So your idea is to get it completely bended. You're almost there. Did you upset the metal at all?
A little.
What does upset mean again? It means that you pound the metal back until you have more metal to work with.
So generally, I do like to heat treat and temper projects that I'm working on. It isn't necessary for this project. I mean, you're not really making something that you want to hold a really wicked edge for through a lot of abuse. It's pretty easy to sharpen up an axe and get it back up to, or hatchet, get it back up to splitting sharpness or useful sharpness, even if you haven't hardened it. And with rebar, rebar is notoriously hit and miss anyway. So, but I just wanted to show that it is a process that I do. I generally try to do, and maybe I'll do another video on that some other time. And again, after the zombies come, of course, all the electricity will still be on, and everyone will have access to a grinder. So you're going to want to do this with your handy-dandy post-apocalypse grinder. No, I will say this, in all seriousness, there's nothing that I'm doing here with power tools that you can't do by hand with sandpaper or metal files or whatever, but sure saves time if you got a grinder. So there's some wood that I split with it. Show you the end there. Now this isn't properly sharpened or anything. This is just I just hit it with the grinder on both sides, and I don't know if you can see, but it's pretty dull. I haven't really put an edge on it yet, but it already splits wood, and I managed to sink it into the. I probably shouldn't have done that. That's kind of the base for my anvil, but that's all right. I got a new anvil I'll be putting up soon. Right through a knot. Right through a knot.
Can I try?
Sure.
That is actually really nice. It's like a really strong hatchet.
Well, that's it for today. Appreciate you watching. And tomorrow, or possibly the next day, depending on when I get it edited, I'm going to put a handle on this, because that's the one thing I didn't get done that I really should. A grip, something that you can grip it with. So that should be a short show, and I think. All right, I'm back as promised to wrap the handle, and I had a couple different ideas for how to go about this. I tried a couple different things. Some of them, one of them in particular failed pretty miserably, so I will discuss that as I am doing this. And I'm going to turn off a heater over here. For this wrap, I am going to use hockey tape. This is kind of a cheap version. I would recommend getting like real authentic hockey tape to do this. But this will work for demonstration purposes, and it'll be interesting to see how well it works in general. The thing that I tried before, I tried some duct tape, because I thought the main thing really is I'm not too worried about it being slick. I'm mostly worried about it filling my hand. Well, it turns out the duct tape was a lot more slick than I really expected. So duct tape is definitely out. Now remember too, part of the idea here, you know, I could go and do a little bit more research and buy a couple other things, maybe do like a leather type of wrap and make it look really cool and whatever. But part of what I'm doing here is saying, if you have, you know, these are materials you're going to stumble across as you are in maybe a survival situation. What do you have available to you at any given time? And usually you're going to be able to find some type of tape, and you're going to be able to find some type of twine. And again, ideally like an actual hockey tape. I think this is not that. And the more I use it, the more it's not quite as sticky and whatever. This might give us some issues, but we're going to try it out anyway. The main thing for me is to increase the width. This is 5/8 inch rebar. When I grip this, I don't really feel like I have a good grip here. I want to be able to kind of sink it back into my palm. So to do that, I want to create a little bit of a palm swell in here, and then I want to wrap the whole thing to increase the girth. But I'm going to create the palm swell first. So to do that, I'm actually just going to start at one end. Just going to start at one end. I'm going to wrap this up. Wish I had scissors out here if I would have been thinking. But I guess that works well enough. All right, there we go. I've got that wrapped up pretty well. I've got a nice enlarged area here in the middle where it's going to fit into my palm. And yeah, I think that'll work pretty well. Okay, so what I'm going to do for this is I'm actually going to start the twine right kind of embedded into a piece of tape. Okay, just like that. And I'm actually going to fold this over to make sure that it doesn't have, there's just no way that twine is going to slip out of there. Okay, so I'm starting it like this. And then, there we go. And then I just start wrapping from there. And as I wrap, I'm going to be real deliberate, because I want to make sure that these coils are actually butted up against each other. Now, just like I did at the bottom, I'm going to do something similar at the top. I'm going to sort of encase this into tape at the top. And then I'm going to put a wrap right around there like that. All right, now we have a very secure wrapped handle, and that feels pretty good. In fact, I would even say that doesn't look too bad. I kind of wasn't expecting that. I thought, oh, this is going to be ugly when I'm done, but it doesn't actually look too bad. So there is there's the hatchet wrapped with $2 roll of tape, or $2 roll of tape and a $2 roll of twine. And honestly, I didn't even use a quarter of either one. so I could do a lot more. So I mean, really, you're talking about less than $1 went into the wrap job on here, and it's grippy, feels good in my hand. Gives me that little bit of extra girth that I need to get a good grip on it. It's kind of got a nice palm swell. I can choke up a little bit if I need to, and I can back it off a little if I need to. I think that's pretty good. Well, thanks again for joining me. I think we proved that you can take some pieces of scrap and a buck or two worth of tape and rope, or twine in this case, and absolutely make a serviceable, survival, expedient hatchet. Splits wood, splits kindling. I wouldn't call it a felling axe. You know, I'm not going to go out and take down the national forest with it. But in a survival situation, a tool like this would come in very handy. But thanks again for joining me. Again, as always, hit like if you liked the video. Absolutely subscribe. It would make me very happy if you did. And comment. I want to hear what you have to say, and I want to interact with you. You know, find out what you like and what you don't like. Maybe you'll give me a project idea. Maybe there's something about this that you want to comment on. Absolutely comment. Something you like, something you didn't like. I'm open to criticism. I'm open to suggestions. I want to hear from you. So that about wraps it up. I guess there isn't a whole lot more to say. I really, really appreciate you guys watching. Once again, this is kind of my 1-year anniversary video. Thought it would be fun to go back and show you guys what the channel was like, what it looked like, and what the quality was like a year ago when I really started with this. Hope you enjoyed the video. There will be many, many, many more to come. And until then, I'm just going to say, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next video. Box that may not be the best, and I think we should call somebody. Don't go over there. I know, go ahead, call somebody. Whoa, man, look at that. See that spark? Weird. Looks just like a flash. That's what I'm saying. I got my phone here. I don't think that's a good idea. I think you should back up. Let him make the call. No. Come on. Hey, don't. No!